And welcome back to my tutorial sessions on Simutrans Pack 64. This is How Not to Game with Kelly Jack. I'm Kelly Jack, the gaming persona of the guy who has the Dyfed Rex channel. Yeah, I know it sounds confusing, but hey, not all of us planned on having everything be in one name. Really, I wish I could still go by that three-letter moniker that I had years and years ago on the quarter arcade thing, but hey, there were already too many of guys like me using that. And over the years, while I created things around it, nothing really worked. Let's see what we got. Now, I do want to apologize. I did start laying out the new routing that's going to go into effect here for me treating this as an intermodal where I separate these guys out and allow my trains to come in and then come back out. These trains are now going to shoot this way. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I am going to try to take and do a cross map service and slowly build up towards, if not bullet trains, at least some fairly high speed rail. In other words, 140 kilometer plus, which is high speed by American standards. Yeah, I know the rest of the world's laughing at us still. I don't blame you. We kind of deserve it. Now, one thing I am kind of looking at here is, for right now, I'm just going to do El Cheapo Bridge. Would be right there. There we go. An El Cheapo Bridge so that I can take out the one thing I hate, which is an at-grade crossing. I am a bicyclist in my get-arounds for the most part. When I'm not doing that, I'm doing bus and then catching a ride with somebody. Don't have a car of my own anymore. Because of that, I find rail grade crossings to be a pain. Because when you're on foot or even on a bicycle, detouring that mile to get down to the next crossing spot or half mile or whatever it is to get around the train, and then hoping you get there before the train one moves to block it further, or worse, you get another train that comes through that's just as slow moving or slow moving while the other one stopped. It can be a pain. And I'm not a fan of people who go underneath those guys. Now I am trying to see what I've got going on here. Yeah, I own that and I own that. So why can't I connect those two? That's why it was trying to take and do it up onto the that is one glitch. If you stop and you're not down low, you got to make certain you're down low, not the up high. I don't always catch that. Let's see what we've got. So what I was doing here was I'm spreading these guys out so that the trains that are, come on, be nice to me, computer. There we go. Now by doing this the way I'm about to do it, and we need our block gate. Hi, Eastern can transport onto about there. I'm going to come into here and let Eastern connect in there. take out this section of rail, and we will speed up the line here momentarily after I get all the connections made. There we go. So we've got it set. Eastern can go there. I'm not allowing them entry over here. And we're doing a signal one way, and this is so that I can come into my station, my two stations. And eventually I intend to have this be a double wide station, and then I'll figure out probably a station section here to come over, service things like the castle, and I think that's it. Yeah, there's nothing else really out there. So that castle might not even get serviced by that. That might just go out by road. But we'll see what we can do, and that might even still fall for the road section under Eastern. Now, the next thing I'm trying to do is to set up for the extension. And I'm no longer caring about financing. I'm giving it up. I just admitted to myself that, yeah, it ain't gonna fly anytime soon that I'm gonna get this squared away. That little bay there is kind of a nice spot if I could dig it out and use it for something else down the road. Bring the road over here initially. Yeah, there's lots of things we got to fix here. Because I'm not really lined up with a good spot, so I'm having to do a lot of groundwork, landscaping work. Landscaping work is pricey, and we're already hurting in this character, this one. So this is going to be a bit tough early on. And I'm going to leave it in a double until I get back over here to where I'm tying into our friend at the Public Service Commission. And that's because PSA is a pain. Now we got to take and do some work here for while we're doing it, and that's going to require switching to, no, switch to, yeah, I'm switched to. Thank you. Why did you open the window? Did I open it? I probably did. Not all here because of the allergy meds, gang. Fully admit that. There we go. Don John's just saying, you know what, we don't care. We're going to go into debt. We might as well go into debt the way we want to. Okay, let's see here. Thing I know I'm going to have to do is raise him up, get him over here. I cannot do what I really want to do until I take this out. So, and this will allow him to go down to a single line right along here, which will save the PSA a little bit of money, but cost him some money. Not really caring. I'm just like, we're in debt. Who cares? There we go. That looks kind of nice. And down the road, this will allow for changes until I get it all squared away. Yeah, it won't let me do that until here. So really, I want to do that guy there for right now. Those are my control gates. They're the ones that prevent anybody from coming on that I don't want on these lines until I get them set up. I don't want them, using a line, finding it's failing and skipping it, and then now we're coming back to it for a while until it goes, oh, I'm going to reevaluate all the lines. And then you can have like a 4 or 5 year gap where it says, hey, you know what? We don't care. And I'm really tempted to see if I can do a power commission power tunnel here to make this a little bit easier. And then state that we're forcing Eastern to abandon the above ground lines and use the power tunnel. But I think it breaks their transit line, if I remember right, for the transmission grid. I can't remember. There's a reason I stopped trying it. You know what? We're just going to leave it for now. The PSA interline connector and then the DDI pine and throat. So I did get this set up though so that I can function all of these. Let's go ahead and take out that section right along here and this section because we don't need them anymore. We kind of have gotten beyond that. Now these should be open, and with these guys open, yep, that's open to Eastern. Yep, that's open to Eastern there. Eastern still should have his access points. I just haven't figured out how to route him in the way I want to route him in. Without really screwing up what the Public Service Commission's done. And I need to take and see about the lines. I'm going to leave it up to everybody. Not that anybody really probably will answer it, but I'm kind of curious, guys. Do you think I should have Public Service Commission bury the power line here, or ask if they will bury so that we can take and make a better interline connector yard here? Realize, these guys, because I came in storming in and added into Pinedon, he may not like it because he's losing some of his in-town business to me. Yeah, the inner city stuff I hadn't touched yet, but I'm about to hit him in a big way with this new line, and depends upon the company. I mean, Eastern's in financial trouble and may say, you know what? Let's have the Public Service Commission do that line. Let's have somebody else do the line. See what we can do. But I don't think it's going to work the way I want it to. To begin with, I'd have to do a double dig there and then bring it up here. Let's do some prep work to make this work. There we go. And I'm going to kick over to Eastern for a little bit because Eastern needs to do a couple things that they may not be too thrilled about doing, but that they have to do. And top of that list is this line needs to get sped up. I mean, period. Sorry. It's just too slow for that train to make money. So I've got to speed up his passenger line. It's not like he's got a super slow train on it. And we need to speed this passenger line up as well. Even though it's got the slower train, it's time to start thinking about upgrading those employee trains. And unload only. Which type of car does he have? He's got the old Cinco that's no longer even used. If I remember right, let's take a peek. The Cinco, yeah, no, the Cinco's still there. The $1.10 Cinco. It's good for how much longer? 51, we're in 41, so 10 more years of service that we can keep deploying them in, and then, can run them for a few years after that, unless you have a evil game master. Go to depot. Need you to go to the depot. And put a faster train on him and see what we can do. See what electric there is that might do it, or if we need to step down and use steam in order to take and do it, or diesel. Either one's about $1.50 to $6. Well, $5 cheaper per click. That might be the option. All right, so we've done those guys. We're back around 22 minutes. I'm back around to Calico. Calico had a whole game session with what he was doing. These guys, because of the complications I'm running into, it would take a whole game session for each of them in alternation twice over. So we're going to take and slowly do these changes. And I will see what I can do. But the first thing I'm thinking about doing is seeing if I can get an InterLine agreement with Eastern to run a passenger train and eventually to take over the rail out there. That might be a good option for that, to take over this rail or replace it with a different routing into Asham, because he's not really doing rail traffic service into Asham right now. And I'd like to take and do that for him. And I'm thinking about another type of interline trick, which is the Public Service Commission rail terminus, where it's sort of like what you have in Chicago with multiple rail companies servicing the lines that all come into one main station that's owned by the old CTA, Chicago Transit Authority. So, that might be an option, guys. Industry growth. Construction wholesaler with 3 factories. What did he get? A sawmill. And the sawmill is at Torwell and has 2 timbers, so that's 4 total. Ooh. So it must be using one of the previous existing. But Torwell, that's Callie's turf. There's the construction wholesaler, home DIY store. We'll see what we can do. Hey, whoa, a postal truck set a world speed record. That's when you know you're in trouble, when your postal trucks are faster than your buses.